Hey everybody, how's it going? Daryl here. Thank you so much for your interest for wanting to see my speech that I gave at the Mobile Entertainment Expo. So I just want to thank all of you because your support of this channel really is what opened the door for me to speak over there. I'm sure of it. And I had a blast. It was awesome. And I wanted this to be valuable to not just only SoundSwitch users, but any DJ company that uses lighting. Just a couple of notes. I brought my Insta360 camera because I knew this would be really valuable like on the showroom floor, and it was. And I'll have a separate video just going over all the pieces of gear I got to see over there and more. And it was not very good at capturing my talk, as you will see in a moment. So I'm mostly going to give priority to like the slides and with the audio of this and me in the bottom right hand corner. So I apologize for that, but here you go. Thank you so much again, and please smash like and subscribe if you found this content useful.
Man who's an expert in DMX lighting all the way from Salt Lake City. Please put your hands together for Mr. Daryl Bennett.
Good morning, Las Vegas. I think you guys are all sufficiently warmed up from Mike. Thank you, Mike. I am so honored to be here today. This is not my first speaking engagement. This is my first time at a DJ conference, and it is phenomenal. I'm having so much fun. Thank you. I'm learning so much. This has been an amazing experience so far. The speakers yesterday were awesome. I'm so privileged to be sharing the stage with them, and I'm very excited to be kicking off today. And
we love you, Daryl.
I love you. So my kid was asking me, like, what is a DJ conference? He knows what it is when I go DJ. So if you could all indulge me for a moment, I'd love to take a selfie so I can show him what a DJ conference is. And it's up to you, like, how hype you are. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Thank you, guys. Thank you for indulging me. I really appreciate it. So today, we're going to start with why before the what and the how with DJ lighting. And so this is loosely inspired by a TED Talk given by a guy named Simon Sinek, which was like start with why. And he powerfully proves in this TED Talk, and it's also a book, but you can just watch the TED Talk and get pretty much the gist of all the important information. But it's like people don't buy what you sell, they buy why you do it. And the goal is not to sell what you have, but connect with people who believe like you. And so we're going to apply this frame of thinking with DJ lighting today. And so, who am I? Well, I'm a DJ, and I'm going to go over a little bit more of my background and my journey of how I got here today speaking in front of all of you. As part of like the why. But I have a YouTube channel, and this is like my little 10-second trailer. I thought it was a lot of setup for like a 10-second trailer. I know, so nice that I had to play it twice. Okay, there we go, we're going. Okay, so yeah, this is my YouTube channel. I have like DJ gig logs, DJ tips, gear reviews, and technical tutorials. And so that's probably the biggest reason why people flock to my channel is for like insights on lighting and more specifically with SoundSwitch. And yeah, here is, if you're looking for like the how to do SoundSwitch, I just wasn't sure this was like the best forum to be able to talk about it, but I have this video I just released last week, like a complete crash course in SoundSwitch. It is free, you can check it out. It assumes you know nothing about SoundSwitch and how you can get up and running and using SoundSwitch at your gigs in 22 minutes in a single video, so you don't have to jump around and try to find the info. But, you know, I'm a YouTube content creator, and I've been making like DJ-related content for about 15 months now. And it kind of started because I thought it would be cool to synchronize lights to music. And so I started posting some videos like this one, which I'm going to show you. And this one's about a minute long. So yeah, I kind of did that just for fun, and come on, there we go. So I did that kind of just for fun, and people started asking me questions naturally, like, how do you do that? How does that happen? So I started like responding to like how to do those questions in like video form, and my YouTube channel just kind of grew. So I've been consistently uploading content and just trying to help DJs with technical knowledge in any way that I know how. And so if you think that a technical topic in a forum like this would be useful, like just let me know, because I love DMX, I love lighting, I could just talk about it all day. DMX 101, like the different groups of lights and like how to like set it all up. Because sometimes I create my content for like intermediate to an advanced audience, but sometimes I forget, need to slow down and help people that are just starting out. And so, you know, I love SoundSwitch. We're not going to talk about how to create a light show like that. I did at one point. Like us Utah DJs, we have like meetups sometimes. This one's organized by DJ Cameron Jesse. This picture is thanks to Morgan. She's taking pictures here, and she's Russ's wife. And I think Russ posted this, so thank you, Russ, our DJ right here. And I did that literally for an hour. I just programmed a light show, and I think some people probably bored to tears. I might have been bored to tears if I was in the audience, but I had a blast. And yeah, I didn't put too much effort into that light show, and I posted it on the internet at a different venue, and it's probably one of the most viewed SoundSwitch light shows on the internet. So it's over there. You can check it out later if you would like. And shout out to all my Utah DJs. And so I really feel like the best way to learn a lot of these technical topics, because there's a lot of technicality being a DJ, right?
Okay.
I feel like it's best achieved like in video format.
We're crazy.
At least it was for me. I'm just going to share a story of when I was in college. My goal was to graduate in computer science, and a huge roadblock was math. I was really behind on math. I mean, in high school, I was more worried about hanging out with my friends, playing music, having fun, and I was behind. I heard that's pretty normal for teenagers, so I'll give myself some grace. And so I showed up to like my first day of calculus, and I was like, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna learn this material, and I am gonna meet my goal, I'm gonna do it. And so I had this professor, probably a really nice dude in his personal life, but as a teacher, he'd go to this big chalkboard, and he'd talk in a soft monotone voice, and he'd just furiously start scribbling all these equations. And I was just like, I can't learn from this guy. Like the first week of school, we started like asking him like, hey, could you repeat that? We didn't quite get that, we didn't hear you. But he would just repeat himself and just keep facing the chalkboard, furiously just repeating the same equation. And I was like, I am not gonna learn this. I'm gonna have to choose a different major. I'm done, this is it. And then I discovered like this YouTube. And I know it's kind of weird, I'm like talking about like a math YouTuber at a DJ conference, but bear with me, this is going somewhere. And I really liked these videos because he went through each of the steps, and I could pause it, I could digest it, see if I understood, I could replicate it, I could go behind, I could fast forward it if it was kind of like stuff I already knew, and I could skip around to different videos that was like more relevant to me at the time. So yeah, I loved that format of learning. And so that is why I have created like my YouTube channel, just to be able to go into depth into some of these technical topics, and so you can learn. And there's also really great other content creators that have awesome like technical tutorials, like digital DJ tips. That's definitely helped me with some more of like the beat matching and the mixing. And I have another course I'm making. It's going to be the most in-depth SoundSwitch tutorial, and I'll have a link at the end of the slide, a QR code. So look out for that. So back to the topic of like, why do DJs use lighting? So I want everyone to reflect and think about like why we ourselves, as like our company, why our company uses DJ lighting. But let's go back and think about like in general, like what is the purpose of DJs using lighting? You ever stopped to think about that? Because DJs, like that stands for disc jockey, and light designers have their own acronym, LD. So what is the purpose? Why do we have DJs doing lighting? Why have DJs incorporated lighting? And if you went on the showroom floor yesterday, if I were to show of hands, who went to the showroom floor last night? Most everybody, I did, and there were a lot of lights, a lot of bright lights. Very pretty bright lights. And DJing is mostly about the music, but it's more than just music. When we show up to these events, it's like a communal experience, and lighting plays a big role in enhancing that experience. In addition to being able to feel and hear the music, we can help guests visualize it, we can help them see it. And lighting can really help dictate the mood and atmosphere of a venue. Like during the DJ takeover or the other parties, there's more lights in this venue, turning this into a nightclub. And right now it's a venue for a seminar. And lighting can transform a boring ballroom into an exciting nightclub. And just having all these lights and dimming the brightness a little bit helps loosen people up, which is the perfect environment to help people dance. That's a huge thing we try to do as DJs, is help people dance. And reinforcing our music with lighting is like a cake. Lighting doesn't replace the music, but together they're a powerful combo. Like that frosting, you can't just show up to a gig and like, if you like frosted a throw pillow, it might look beautiful, but I mean, that's not going to be very good. And you can have the cake too without the frosting. I mean, that cake right there is AI generated, it's not real, but I think it looks like a tasty cake. I think it would be enjoyable just by itself, but together, they are a powerful combo. And DJs who use lighting have an edge on those that don't. A lot of the talks from yesterday seem to talk about how to differentiate yourself, how to offer something that's different than those in your market. And lighting is one of those ways you can do that. And lighting has come a long way. I haven't been DJing that long. I don't have like 35 years of experience like Mike Walter. I wasn't even conceived 35 years ago. And I was talking with Mike in the back room, and he was talking about like dip switches, and we don't use dip switches anymore. So lighting has come a long way, and I've been doing this for about 7 years now, and there are so many different options, and lighting has never been more affordable, easier to control, and it can be overwhelming. It can be confusing. I know personally, I was having sensory overload last night on the showroom with all those really cool movers and light bars shining in my face. So the more intentional we are, the easier it can be for us to find the right solution that meets our needs as a DJ company. So now I'm going to tell you like my story of how I got into DJing and lighting. DJing was never in the cards for me. I never aspired to be a DJ growing up. My dad was in a band, my uncles were in bands, and playing music was really important to me. These are some of the projects I was involved with, like in middle school and high school. And yeah, I just loved music, and it was my dream to play in a rocking band. And so as an adult, I started a band, and we did things that bands do, right? We wrote music, recorded albums, we practiced, we performed, and yeah, it was great. I was loving it. It was awesome. But there became a time, I think it's about the time I was about to have my first kid, is that I wanted to, well, let me back up. So I was loving playing in a band, but I realized of all the different parts of music, 'cause I loved performing live. I loved showing up to a gig and synergizing over music with the audience. It was just a thrill, and I wanted more of it. So I realized there was more demand to play like cover songs, and that's what we did. We pretty much ditched all of our original music and was just solely focusing on playing cover songs. And it was great. It helped us get to on the short list of bands that play at pretty much every club in town, and it was a good time. But then it was about around the time I was having my first kid, I wanted to have a higher quality of gig. I wanted gigs that paid better and had better hours. And I've talked to some people that are club DJs that are wanting to transition to a wedding DJ, kind of a similar trajectory. So a band, the most important thing they have to offer, their biggest piece of value is their repertoire, the songs that they're able to perform. And we were a band full of people that had full-time jobs, families. I was a student at the time, so our ability to incorporate new songs was slow. And I'm kind of an impatient person, and I wanted to push the envelope and add more value to the band quicker. So I started looking into dressing, costumes, choreography, and production, lighting. And so I'm going to show you my first gig where I incorporated lighting. And yeah, it's not fantastic. I'll point to this screen. But yeah, I have 2 T-bars with 4 cheap bars just going on some auto fade mode, and some old school Chauvet Quintas pointing onto the dance floor. And that's how I started incorporating lighting into my band. It was just trying to help our performance. I didn't have a background in theater or stage lighting or anything like that. But eventually that opportunity led me to a DJ asking me to provide lighting for a DJ dance party, a Halloween party. And I didn't really think about DJing very much, but the moment I went to this gig, I realized DJing was freaking awesome. Who thinks DJing is freaking awesome? Woo! Because a lot of the pain points I had at performing in a band were alleviated by being a DJ. Your repertoire, is that a thing? As a DJ, you can just download pretty much any song. You have remixes, remashes, acapellas. So there was just a limitless world. And when you're in a band, when you commit to a song, even if it clears the dance floor, you kind of have to play the whole song before you do another one. As a DJ, you don't have that problem. You can keep the energy more on the dance floor. So I started DJing on weekends that the band wasn't performing, and then eventually my calendar was so booked with DJ gigs that it just made sense to dissolve the band, because I just never was available to perform in it. And that's basically how I got to be a DJ. And then I wanted to do more with my lighting. I wanted to be more intentional. And so that's where I naturally looked into DMX. DMX is the way you control lights. And DMX is a learning curve. And by the time I attempted to try to learn DMX, I had my degree in computer science and my musician background, and it was still super hard. So if you feel like DMX is super easy to learn, then congratulations, you're way smarter than me. But if you're having a hard time wrapping your head around DMX, just know that's pretty darn normal, because it was a learning curve for me. And so once I did learn DMX, it was kind of now what? How do I turn this knowledge of these values between 0 and 255 in channels into an experience, into a light show, into something that brings value to my DJ brand? And So there's this meme, and I couldn't find the one with DJs. I think Rachel Lynch posted it, but it's the same thing. Like normal people, Homer Simpson sleeping soundly, entrepreneurs, DJs awake at night just thinking about all the problems associated with being in a business that are applied to that DM. And so I feel like I took that one step further, and I just had all these questions. These are the kind of questions that kept me up at night. And I apologize for this big jarble of words on the screen. That's done intentionally just to kind of show you kind of my mindset at the time. But I'm just going to read through these, like with DMX lighting, what kind of chasers should I implement? How many uplights should I use in a performance? Should my uplights all have unique addresses? Should I be using a gig bar and just letting it be on sound active mode? Is lighting actually making me money? Do clients actually even care about the lighting? Should I be using 2 movers, 4 movers, or 8 movers? Should my movers be on one side of the dance floor, or should they be spread around the room? Should I be strobing? What colors should I be using? How high should I mount my lights? Should I have different lights for different venues? Can lighting actually detract from the vibes of an event? So those are just some of the questions that I thought of. And coming from the world of like software engineering, like software engineers are just huge on best practices. There's like a best practice for everything, even how you communicate with each other. The best practices are patterns that streamline processes, increase efficiency, minimize risks, and improve performance. And all those questions I asked before are kind of like examples of best practices. And in DJ forums and DJ Facebook groups, I was seeing 5 unique answers for one question. And they were like answers given by people that were well respected. So I was just curious, like, why is all this like answers differing? Why is that happening? And then one big question I had is like, why do we all have like access to the same lights? Like everyone's able to purchase the same lights, but why are some able to sell their lightings to clients while others are not? That was one of my burning questions. And then I took a step back and I listened to that TED Talk by Simon Sinek, and I asked myself, why? We know what we offer, and most know like how to implement it, but have we stopped to think like, why are we offering this? Why are we offering uplights? Why are we offering pixel tubes or whatever? And so I'm going to share an example of trying to sell DJ lighting. And this is a very real example because this was not that long ago. So I'm going to try to sell you like a dance floor lighting package. And let me know, as consumers, take off your DJ caps for a moment, put your consumer cap on, and tell me what you think about this value proposition. So, as a DJ company, we can offer you dance floor lighting. We can offer 16 uplights, 2 intelligent movers on totems, and it will be all controlled with DMX. What do you think? Yeah.
It's like Jarvis.
Yeah.
Client doesn't know what you're talking
This almost looks like a listing for KPO DJ or NLFX, This is not really selling anything. But then here is another example. We believe that you deserve fantastic photos. We want you to look back and remember how much fun you had with your closest people. We use lighting to help set the mood and help your photos pop with color. And that's the difference. That's like selling an experience, a result. That's selling the idea that your customers' photos deserve to be good. And that's an ideal that people can buy into, and that's something that they can resonate with. And then here's another example. This is 2 DJ setups of mine at the same venue, a couple years apart or so. And on the left, you have like the Chauvet gig bar. It's kind of a controversial light. I don't think it needs to be, but it is. And then on the right is a light setup that took a little bit more effort. And I'm gonna try to sell the nicer lighting setup like poorly and vice versa, just to prove a point. So here's the pitch for this DJ setup. And this is the picture shown to you. We provide dance floor lighting, and our lighting separates us from our competition because we use high quality fixtures and it's all programmed beautifully with DMX. Versus this one, the gig bar. Your wedding deserves to be fun. When it's time to dance, we will play great tunes accompanied by vibrant lighting that helps create an environment conducive to dancing. And you know, that's like a lot of verbalization, but in our modern day and age with social media, like people can see the effect of the lights like on our pictures, on our timelines, and our social media. And a picture is really worth 1,000 words. And a video is literally 1,000 pictures strewn together. So having that social media is super important. And if we don't know why we're offering lighting, how are our customers supposed to know? If we don't have like a clear definition, if we're not super intentional, they're just going to be really confused. Here's a few examples I found with a quick Google search. I'm sure there's a lot more. DJ uplighting. Why are all the DJs obsessed with it? I'm getting married next year, and all the DJs I've contacted have had very strong opinions on upgrading the package with uplighting. I don't want DJ dance for lights. Is that weird? I think neon colored DJ lights are cheesy. DJ lighting question. I'm very confused about the lighting. All the DJs I'm talking to insist on having this expensive lighting, insisting it's very necessary. And so, how can we clear the confusion as DJ business owners? How can we be more intentional with it? Ooh. And I know that we were focusing on the lighting, but we'll take a step back and think about the business as a whole, because we can't separate our DJ business from the products and services we offer. So if you take anything away from this course, yeah, take a screenshot, take a picture, write this down in your notepad. These are the questions I want all of you to reflect on. And that is, why are you in business? What does success look like to you? What motivates you to run your business? Is your passion represented by your company culture, mission, or value? And reflecting on those questions can really help give guidance on like where you want to go as a company and make the right decisions for your lighting style, because we'll go over why in just a few moments. Because a lot of like effort and money and time goes into like implementing these lighting solutions, and if we're just like switching it out every single time like a shiny new gadget comes out, I mean, that's a lot of effort. So if we can like really know why we're doing lighting, like what we're trying to achieve, then that can help a lot. And what's great about that is that those answers to those questions don't have to be set in stone. And they shouldn't be set in stone. They should evolve with you as you evolve as a human being, as a business owner. And the answer to any of those questions, it isn't money. Money isn't a motivation, it's a result. And I added this picture for a different reason, but I thought it was a great example, because who here hasn't seen Breaking Bad, the TV show? All right, there's a few of you. Perfect. So it's about the story of this chemistry teacher who gets diagnosed with cancer, and he pretty much lived his life being pushed around by everybody, and he wanted to be able to leave his family something nice when he left. He wanted to like pay off the house, leave his wife with a nice nest egg, and send his kid to college, like save up money for that. So he started manufacturing drugs so that he could do that, right? And he had a specific goal in mind. He's like, I need like $1 million to be able to achieve all those things. And so he made $1 million, but he kept going. And then he kept going until he like got into this picture where he has this storage locker with so much money that he won't be able to spend it in his entire lifetime. And he continued to go. So my major $1 million, you did it, right? And he just responds like, because it made me feel good. It made me feel powerful. This is a guy that like lived his whole life being pushed around by everybody. And for once in his life, he was able to push back. He was able to push back against like powerful people. And so money is not the motivation, it's a result of the work. And so for me, money buys freedom. Money buys the freedom to do the things that I want to do. I love to travel, and I want to give great experiences for my kids. So that's what money is. And I kind of want that too for my guests. I want guests to be entertained and be free of their problems for an evening to have a good time, especially in an election year. There's so much negativity with all that, so it's time to have some more dance parties. And once you have your reason why, you can filter your new lighting solutions against your purpose. Does this shiny new gadget help my purpose, detract from it, or is it about the same? And so when you are able to do that, then you're not spending so much time on resources. You're not using so many of your resources on implementing a new lighting solution. And so I'm going to share some of my best practices that I have found that help further my purpose. So I like lighting that complements the venue aesthetic vibe during formalities. So even in that picture with the gig bar I showed earlier, I had the gig bar off until it was time for the dance party. Like I didn't have it on during like the first dance or the parent dances. But I feel like lighting should complement the vibe during the formalities, or it can just be off too. And a lot of our venues have like Edison bulbs or natural light because a lot of the formalities happen during the daytime. And I always communicate with the photographer because I want the client's photos to look fantastic, and different photographers like have different preferences. Some love the spots being shown on the couple from our totems, some hate it, some are indifferent. So it's just good to communicate, it's good to talk with them. And then I feel like lighting synced to the music can help boost the energy during a dance party. And I believe just going wild with color during the dance party helps create a vibrant atmosphere that encourages people to dance. And you can strobe on the drop, but not strobing all the time. And I don't think lighting has to be over the top to be effective. This might be a little controversial, but I believe like in the Pareto principle applies for like DJ lighting. Like 20% effort will give you 80% results. And so I see that as like a gig bar. A gig bar is 20% effort. It's providing some lighting, it has some chases, it provides some ambiance. But if you're really wanting to go to the extra 20% to be like, to differentiate yourself from your market and to be at the top of your market, then it takes more effort. It takes the 80% effort. But that's why it's important to like know why you're in business and what your specific business goals are. Because 80% effort can be a lot. And this is a picture from my gig. The first gig I used DMX and movers. I was told that dance floor lighting needs to be on the dance floor, right? And so I got my movers, I programmed the pan and tilt to be right in the center of the dance floor, and they stayed there for 4 hours. And, I cringe a little bit now when I think about it, but something that I have thought about a lot is that lighting doesn't have to shine directly on the dance floor to impact the energy of the room. I think that some dance floor lighting is effective, like uplights. Uplights help impact the energy of the room, and they're not pointed on the dance floor. Same with the pixel tubes, although sometimes the pixel tubes can radiate enough light to the dance floor. And washes reflecting off the ceiling can help provide enough lighting to illuminate things and create a cool vibe. And gobos just, standing around the room. And something that has helped me is like standardizing the lighting setups in my multi-op. I mean, we are not very big. We're not 16 DJs yet or anything like that. But this is an example of like 3 different DJs with 3 different DJ setups going out there in Utah. And we're all using like the same lighting, like different variations, but it's like all the same lighting. That just kind of helps with the branding so people can kind of get an expectation of like what the visual appearance is going to look like. And you can be agnostic about certain things. Some DJ companies are agnostic about the lighting that is brought as long as you bring something. And this is not specific towards lighting exactly, but as far as DJ booths, like, I'm kind of like others, like Joe Bunn. He said that not everybody in his company needs to rock a Bunn Gear Command Center to be a DJ in his company. And same with me. As long as like the DJ setup is clean, that's all that is important. And standardized programming is also helpful. And I was going to do a live demo with SoundSwitch and a visualizer, but it is not wanting to display on this big screen. So just visualize it in your mind, if you will. But I have like a certain light show that includes like all the different groups of lights that we could have, like kind of like our big show. Because not everybody wants to have all their lights at every show, because sometimes you just don't have room for it, or the needs aren't as, you just don't need as many lighting. So I have a light show that has like 2 moving head washes, 2 moving head spots, 4 pixel tubes, and 4 uplights, at least 4 unique addresses that you can patch around the room. And so you can subtract any one of those groups of lights and the light show still works. And so that has just like made my life so much easier, because at first I thought like my DJs just needed to buy whatever lights they wanted, and it was my responsibility to program a light show for each unique setup for each person, and that was a nightmare. That was a lot of work. So this has definitely helped things be better. And automated light shows. And this is not just something you can do with SoundSwitch. You can achieve this type of automated workflow with pretty much any DMX software out there. Wolf Mix, My DMX Go, QLC Plus, Show Express. But basically, like, this is a picture of one of my newer DJs, and he is at this event, and I pretty much gave him 3 buttons to push. One is the dinner scene. So when he pushes that button, the lights are kind of static, just kind of chill. And then there is the party scene, and so that will like loop through all of the chases. The chases are automatically synced to the beat of the music he's playing, but they just kind of like loops through them at random. And then I showed him where the strobe button is. It's like, if there's an exciting drop, push this button. So 3 buttons. Because I remember when I first got started and I had like a really complicated like screen full of like knobs and levers and buttons to control the various parts of my light show, like the movers, the gobos, the strobing of different groups of fixtures, and I had a hard time running it. And I really want my DJs to focus on the music and kind of let the lighting run itself. And so that tactic has definitely helped me. And this is another thing that I like, is quick setups that a single person can set up reasonably in an hour, because I want roadies to be a nice to have, not a requirement for the gig to go on. And if you want to have roadies, that's totally fine. I think this philosophy of mine like stems from the fact of being in a band, because for a band to be able to perform, you need to have the schedules of like 5 adults line up on a weekend. So it's kind of tough. And it's a lot easier to find a roadie than it is to find like a replacement drummer. It's like, hey, John, can you learn these 50 songs before Saturday? It'll pay $50. So, yeah, I think that roadies, having it this way, like having a roadie be a nice to have and not a requirement, helps. And I think I have spammed this venue to death with various setups. But this is in a place called Moab, Utah, which is like 4 hours from Salt Lake City. Yeah, Moab. Yeah, it's beautiful. It has a lot of beautiful, like, natural stuff. If you haven't had a chance to go visit Moab, I highly recommend it. Put on your bucket list. Utah's national parks, beautiful. But a lot of like couples have destination weddings over there, and there's not a huge talent pool, so a lot of us come from Salt Lake City and make the 4-hour drive. But I want like my setups to be able to be set up reasonably by a single person, so that I don't have to have a roadie and bring them and pay them like an overnight fee and all of that. And along that vein, I think having convenient fixtures is really nice for the appropriate scenario. For some scenario, you do need power. You need like powerful lights. But for like a lot of the weddings we do, we don't. So if we can leverage like battery-powered like uplights, battery-powered washes, battery-powered movers, do it. it may not seem like a lot of time to like plug in like your wireless cable, or rather plug in your DMX cable or your wireless daughter dongle, or to plug in like the lights. I've heard people say like, oh, you're just being really lazy if you're doing all that. But I think that reducing complexity for your DJ setup is important. This is another like idea from like software engineering, is that instead of like thinking about like the efforts about doing a project like a wedding or setting up a DJ wedding setup, think about like the complexity. Are you adding complexity or are you removing complexity? Because when you think about time, it doesn't take into effect like, what if this happens? Like, what if there's stairs? What happens if like I arrive there late? And so just, because when you think about effort, it's usually like a best case scenario. So when you think about complexity, then that just can help you a lot. And something that I've been loving too is that they've been able to make fixtures so compact these days. I mean, at this particular gig, that's me holding 20 lights. I mean, even like 4 years ago, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, I can't imagine holding like 20 lights in one hand in one trip. I guess you could roll it in a rolling case, but the compact fixtures just, yeah, really help out. And I really like this idea of thinking why we're in business, because it gives you grace. Because, you know, DJs, at least all the DJs I know, we are addicted to our social media. We're always like looking at what other people are doing. Of course, like being happy for them, but sometimes like people are doing things differently. They're having various levels of success, or they're doing things a different way. And I think if we realize that we all have different reasons why we're in business, we're all kind of like going on different paths, then I think it's a bit easier to not be so hard on ourselves. And yeah, I think that definitely helps, and that is a great thing. And so, you know, being a YouTuber, and we live in a day and age where you're trying to condense all of your information into like a short amount of time. I'm really struggling at trying to make helpful, useful tidbits into like reels, but a lot of these different types of like topics, I can condense like in 10 minutes. So I was told to do a 45-minute talk with a 15-minute Q&A. You can scan this QR code. I'd be tickled pink if you follow me on YouTube, on Instagram, and I have also other helpful resources. And again, if you want to learn like DMX 101, I have a great video on that. If you're looking to get started with SoundSwitch, there's a great video on that as well. So, thank you so much, everybody. Let's get to the Q&A. What questions do y'all have? I don't think we have a microphone. I think yesterday I saw that. Okay, I got a question over here.
So the video that you showed at the beginning where you had like that whole program show, do you find that you can do a lot of that higher end stuff on the fly with a bunch of songs, or do you find that when you're doing like more of a program show, you're sticking to a set list and sticking with that music as well?
That is a great question. And for those that didn't hear, he's asking about like, we saw like a really choreographed light show where the lights were like synced to the music. So he was asking like, can you do that kind of stuff on the fly, or do you have to do a lot of prep beforehand? And so you have like a light show that's like pretty, you have like a set list dictated around the light shows that you have. So like I said, I don't think lighting needs to be over the top to be effective, especially for a DJ dance party. Because like that particular show, like you're the audience, you're watching the show, so the light show is trying to be interesting for you. And that would be more important for like a concert or a show. But a DJ dance party where we're not on a stage, it's not super important. So a lot of my light shows are a little bit more like basic chases. So all the lights kind of like do things with each other. Like the colors, I'll apply a color schema. Like the uplights might be purple, the movers might be yellow, and they just like complement each other and they look good. So I don't have a ton of like scripted shows like that for most of my weddings. I will sometimes do that for like a grand entrance though. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for all your videos. I learned so much from SoundSwitch and all that stuff. My question
Thank
is,
you.
I'm finding that when I just go through the normal auto loops, I know you can, auto strip auto loops, all that stuff.
Heck yeah.
I'm noticing it's very minimal when I do the auto loops, and then auto stripping is a complete opposite. Is there a happy medium? I know when they don't auto strip everything or SoundSwitch don't auto strip every file you add. Is there a happy medium? Or do you recommend just auto stripping the auto loops?
So as part of your SoundSwitch workflow, I highly recommend that you focus on the auto loops first. Like you can manually create some dank auto loops, and then when you're satisfied with those, then you can go forward. You can like start auto scripting some songs, manually scripted some songs, and you can also auto script the auto loops too. Which I think that the auto scripting engine for songs is way better than the auto scripting engine for auto loops. But yeah, SoundSwitch as a software development team, they have big in-music brand money, and they have a really good development team now. It's come a long way.
What would you recommend for like a initial investment for somebody like that just wants to export any of those kind of a higher step of besides the gig bar, like what would you recommend for like an initial investment?
All right, so the question is like, what would you recommend for an initial investment where you made the gig bar investment, now you want to go like for like the next step, like the one step above a gig bar. I think uplighting can really transform like the energy of a room, and it's really fun. And then I think like radiating some like wash onto the dance floor is another great option, like the Wash Effects 2 or the Wash Effects Hex. Or I know that a lot of people, like Braxton who works under me, he has a really great idea where he has a Gravity Stands T-bar, or it's actually the Chauvet Flex stand, which is the same thing basically, but it's a flat-based lighting stand, and it has 4 battery-powered parts on top, so they can be controlled with DMX. It's all wireless, it's really easy to set up, and it's effective.
Just want to wash the floor. Yeah.
That is a great question. So let me get to that picture. So the question was, what is this program being used? So I have a whole gig log just detailing how I set this all up, but this is SoundSwitch on a Surface Pro. SoundSwitch does not work on an iPad. There's no iPad app that interfaces the SoundSwitch, but you can run a Surface Pro, which is a tablet that's fully running Windows. And so I know a lot of people are like, I want a standalone solution. I mean, that's pretty standalone, and you can just like push the button. So I like it. Yeah. Thank you. So I think that a lot of those products are awesome. I'm really excited for them. Both companies, Maestro DMX and AI DMX, said they're going to send me a sample so I can test it, make a video, make some content. Hasn't happened yet, but from what I've seen is that they do require some setup. Like there's very few lighting solutions where you can just turn it on and have it automatically work. And the solutions that have like that capability, they're not as flexible to customize. Like the Ape Labs music mode, I think is brilliant because you just turn it on and it kind of just works. But I've talked to a lot of people where when they want like more, when they want their lights to do more than just be in like a sound active mode, then it's a little bit trickier. I think like Maestro DMX and AI DMX, they're awesome, but I think that with software developments and technology, you want to push it out so you can get some initial funding. I still think that they're kind of in their early stages, and I think they're only going to improve with time. So I'm excited to see where they go. So it works on a MacBook Pro, it just doesn't work on an iPad. But my DMX Go, I think, is probably the most popular solution for iPads. My DMX Go. I haven't played with it personally, but I'd like to. And that's the thing too about like trying to implement new solutions. Like for me, it'd just be to create content and to tinker around, but it'd have to be a pretty dang good solution for me to have to re-implement everything, do something other than SoundSwitch, because if it ain't broke, you don't need to fix it. Anybody else? All right, well, thank you. Oh, here we go, Josh. Yes, different packages. That is a great question. So Josh over here is asking like, how do you like package the lighting? Like how do you have like different packages? Do you separate like DJ packages from like lighting packages? How do you communicate this with brides? Because I know I did an example where like we have 16 movers 16 uplights, 2 movers, 2 totems, DMX. That is a great question. And so what I've found that helps me, and I think other people do things differently, but this is just something that I've started and I've been having some success, is I have packages. Like, I think I got it from like the DJ's Vault, the idea of like 3 packages, good, better, best. I named them something different. In Utah, we like to ski, so there's like some ski-related term. But like the first package includes like basic dance floor lighting, and the interpretation can be different. So Braxton over here could be using like his 4 washes, and that could be it. I could be using my 4 battery pixel tubes, and that's it. Or someone could be using a gig bar, and that's it. Basic dance floor lighting kind of refers to the amount of effort put into the lighting. And then I have another tier of premium dance floor lighting. And I feel like different venues, you can do different things. Like if you're like a big ballroom where you have like a big footprint, then you can do like a little bit more. You can have like 4 movers instead of 2 movers. You can have like some washes. You can put more fixtures, and it's really up to you. But some venues are smaller, but you still want to do something premium. So something having like those Astera pixel tubes, that creates a premium look, and it's more compact. So that is what I do. And I do a la carte lighting, and I only do that if someone asks for it, which, I haven't really been advertising it all that much, but I do it, and I just have like a fixed price for everything, like uplights, like $35 an uplight, like a $200 like setup fee, tech fee if you want someone to monitor it. I just do it a la carte, like super a la carte. But I don't do that very often because I usually incorporate the DJing with the lighting. I think we have time for one more question.
So a quick question, Daryl, since you have graduated away from the dot lighting and the laser and stuff, are you getting better referrals from your photographers because of the aesthetics wise?
So that's a great question. Thank you so much. The question was that now that you've kind of went towards like the fancier lighting and got away from like the dots, the moonflowers, the quintas and lasers, are you getting like more referrals from like photographers? Because photographers don't want lasers to kill their camera. They don't want dots like on the people. And the answer is it's kind of mixed and varied. I did an experiment because I watched a Nick Spinelli video where he was like saying gig bar bad. So I asked every single photographer for like, I think almost a year, what they thought about like a gig bar, what they thought about lasers. And yeah, some of them did not like them, but the majority were like, as long as there's a laser not pointing at my lens, then I don't really care. As long as like people are dancing and there's like a vibrant energy, I don't really care. So your experience might be different with the photographers in your area, but that was just my experience. And I know I've also asked photographers here and they're like, what do you like or dislike about DJ lighting? And like I mentioned, I like to have my lights be like a natural uplight during the formalities. And I just had lunch with a photographer yesterday and he said he loves like Barney purple and bright blue during those moments so that when he's taking pictures, like there's like a backdrop of like beautiful color to like contrast against. So, I mean, trying to guess what photographers are what their preference are is kind of like a Russian roulette. And I talked to another photographer where he said he just hates all uplights. All uplights are ugly, they're all terrible. Maybe it's because the DJs weren't doing it right, but I just think he didn't like uplights, even if it was implemented well. So it really depends on the photographer.
I think that's just where the relationship between the DJ and the photographer, that's where it comes into effect. You know, you've got to talk to your vendors. You guys are creating an experience for your clients, you know. That you got to have that communication.
Yeah, Brian over here is just saying you have to have communication. You don't know what other vendors are going to like or what their preferences are. So just having like that communication helps, and that is going to get you like more referrals. Having that relationship and that communication more than anything. And yeah, shout out to Brian. Brian was one of my mentors that helped me start DJing. So thank you, Brian.
And how about a huge round of applause for DJ Daryl Bennett. First time, what a guy. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of him as well throughout the course of the stage. For those who just arrived, we want to officially welcome you here to day 2